Hi everyone, I'm here with Colleen Burke and I thought I'd ask her about the start of the New South Wales Folk Federation. Over to you, Colleen.
Thanks, Jane. Well, I just said to Jane before, as she arrived that I had to go and do all research about this just so I got it all right. And I think I just want to give a bit of context, as everyone knows, that the Folk Federation started in 1970 after the Port Jackson Folk Festival in January that year. And Danny Watson was a big part of all that. And there were concerts in George Street, Town Hall in George Street. And it was just a buzz, like there were just crowds of people down George Street. Imagine seeing that today, lining up to go. So it was that excitement you got, which unfortunately I think we've lost a bit. Anyway, and it was at the Uni of New South Wales, and we had the reception at the IMA.
Was that for concerts or dancing, or what was it?
Well, at the University of New South Wales, it was dancing concerts.
Okay,
yeah. And the reception was at the IMA. But before that, so we have to have a context how it came about. Declan and I moved to live in Melbourne at the end of '67, but before that time, Sydney was abuzz with folk music. Like I met him at the Royal George Hotel when there were no folk clubs in Sydney, although there was a bush music club had set up in the 50s. And that's where the singers were, like the Brian Moonies. Oh, there's another bloke. Anyway, Declan. And so people were singing Irish rebel songs, folk songs, as well as popular songs, because it was a mix of people. There was all the odd bods of Sydney that, although the libertarians were there, there was anarchist, socialist, eccentrics, and that was a place to be. And Don Henderson was there. So it was through all that the folk clubs, and Declan used to sing in coffee shops. God, we used to travel out to a place in Newport every Friday night on the bus, so that no one would listen because they're all eating, drinking. But the folk clubs were interesting because the Troubadour started in 1963 in Edgecliff with Jim Carter, and that was really our introduction to so many people. Listening to Roland Robinson recite poems, Irish poetry, Dennis Kevin. There was Sebastian Jurgensen who played classical guitar. There was a flamenco player, Marion Henderson, Don Henderson, Alec Hood, who came out of the Bush Music Club. Yeah. And just hearing this, I'd been hearing the Irish. I knew some Australian because I'm Australian, but just a variety. And Colin Dryden was there. Everyone you could think of. Mike McClellan came in, and there was a downstairs, upstairs, and upstairs was for the performers and downstairs. So it's pretty amazing. As I said, it was very eclectic. And then Noel Raines and his wife Vicky ran this thing called the Greenwich Village over in Kensington, Anzac Road, and that's where we met a whole heap of people. Like we had Mike Ball, Carol and Mike Wilkerson, who were English and knew all those songs, traditional songs, brought them into Australia. Then Mick Flanagan, bringing all the Irish stuff in, and Christy Cooney, Roger Montgomery. So here we met a whole lot, and that became Sunday night there became a social night rather than more formal club because the Troubadour went quite late, it's quite late venue. And then from those things developed the Liz Hotel. That was probably mid to late 60s. That was our most famous folk club that ran for years and years under different people. And that was upstairs at the Elizabeth Hotel in Elizabeth Street opposite Hyde Park. There was a Maitland Amorphous, there was a lime juice tub. So it was very social, and all the different people interacting. Mike Eves was running clubs then, and John Curry, the Irish singer, was around. And too, as time went on, once we were all together, and we were all very interested in our different genres. And Declan and I used to go, and Bridie was a baby, go to the thing called the What in Sydney, in the Rocks, where we had everyone from everywhere, the Turkish and the Bulgarians and all that exciting music, and Declan and others doing Irish and Australian, and I read poetry there and sang as well too. And then we'd take little Bridie and put her under a table for the night. But that mixing of cultures was that was great.
It's really dynamic, isn't it? When you have that. Yeah.
It seems to have. So that's what I've noticed, that once when we were all together, different musical genres of the folk, traditional, the splitting up
Yeah.
into more defined groups. You know. Not everybody, like Declan, I think, crossed things, and few people crossed, but it did become that more.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't go on. I could go on all day.
Oh, I could talk to you all day about this, Colin. I think that's probably the end of my video here
Yeah.
for our 50th anniversary.
Yeah, well, happy 50th.
No, thanks
Folk
very much.
Federation of New South Wales, although I still refer to you as the New South Wales Folk Federation, but that's
Thank
all right.
you.
And thank you, Jane. For,
Oh, pleasure. It's been great. I can't wait to stop recording and then keep talking because it's so interesting hearing all this stuff. And wishing everyone happy birthday at the 50th anniversary. Thanks, Colleen.
That's all right, Jane.